I'm interested in the role architecture and technology plays in politics and its ability to function as an icon of our lived experience. The architectural image of the built environment is depicted in my work in order to introduce a dialogue about shifting geopolitical power structures, failed utopias, natural upheavals, human existence. Well, I grew up in Germany and was always, as a kid, very much aware of history and how history is made visible in the built environment. I grew up next to a big US Army base where they had nuclear missiles, and for some reason was always very much aware of that fact. And I think this has really shaped my work today. I choose my images in response to paying close attention to the news and daily events in the world that shape our existence. And then I mostly look in Google searches for images that I can then use as source imagery to make these paintings. Images can be manipulated for political purposes, and architecture plays into that very strongly. For example, in the painting Obama's Visit to Baghdad, which the photograph appeared on the cover of the New York Times, and it was a picture of Obama in a helicopter getting an aerial view of Sadr City in Baghdad. And this was during his first election campaign. What interested me about that image was not so much that him looking out over the city, but just how staged the photograph seemed to me. That it was very much a staged photograph for political purposes for his campaign, which is why I chose to make that photograph into a painting. I'm interested in the shifting of meaning in places. For example, in the painting Kaliningrad, which is a painting of a brutalist architectural building built by the Communist Party after World War II in Russia. But due to whatever reason, there was a lack of interest in completing the building and funds were cut off and it was never completed, and to this day remains abandoned. And so I was interested in the nature of this building and how it had become an instantaneous ruin from its conception almost. Once an image is decided on, I change it to grayscale. I get rid of all the color information and I blow the image up to the size that the painting is going to be. That gets printed out. The panel gets primed and covered with this vinyl transparent mask, which then allows me to make a rudimentary tracing of the photocopy through the tracing paper onto the vinyl mask. Then the image gets redrawn with a black ink pen in order to tighten it up to make the perspective accurate. That gets completely redrawn with an X-Acto blade. So every shape, every line gets traced with the blade, thereby making shapes that can later be removed. And they're removed in order to receive a layer of paint. Once I have the whole image retraced with the blade on the vinyl, it gets another layer of vinyl, which then adds as a sort of separation layer in order to protect the initial drawing. And then out of that layer, certain shapes get cut out that are going to get painted in. And key with that is that no shape is touching another shape. So each shape is its own separate entity. Then once that is done, I pre-mix all the colors according to the photograph, or as many colors as I can. And that usually ends up, depending on the painting, to be around 200 to 300 colors per painting. After that, the painting begins. The cut open spaces get sealed with acrylic medium that prevents the paint from seeping underneath the mask and also makes a nice crisp line. And then it all comes down to precise cutting and remasking, applying new layers of vinyl as I go, removing it, and protecting areas that have been painted in. When I choose an image, I want it to act as a signifier. For example, this painting, A Cityscape of Tokyo, I was interested in the fragility of our existence in cities in relationship to nature, how nature can impact a seemingly indestructible city. And in this case, in this painting, exemplified by the infrastructure found in the city, on the buildings, air conditioners, generators, water towers, antennas, that are all very much subject to nature. I wanted to find an image that would illustrate that precarious balance between nature and human existence.